everyone. I'm Kim Jacobs, host of The Kim Jacobs Show, where we're bringing balance to the world, one household at a time. Listen, we go live every weekday, Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I bring guests on that talk about their backstories, things that they've had to overcome to become who they are today. Many of them are balancing and juggling life, and they've become experts in different fields. So they're sharing tips with you to make your life just a little bit easier. Many times as a guest in the studio audience, you'll get a chance to walk away with a missing piece of the puzzle that might be missing in your life. Let's go on this journey together, and I look forward to seeing you Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on The Kim Jacobs Show. You're watching Kim Jacobs Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. I am so excited to have with me today Pam McCloskey. How are you, Pam?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me here.
We're going to have a great time today, right?
Yes.
You know why? Because we're going to be talking about what? Give people just a little snippet about what we are going to be discussing on today's episode, Thriving While You Are Alive. Talk to us.
Yes, that's exactly what we're going to talk about. I'm going to share a little bit of my story, and we're going to talk a little bit about self-care and shame.
Self-care and shame. So everyone, grab your virtual seats and make sure that you share this broadcast with everyone you know and invite them to be a part of today's discussion right here on The Kim Jacobs Show. Pam, where are you located?
I am in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay, yeah.
So it's cold. It's cold in Pennsylvania, right?
It's starting to get a little chilly, yes.
Okay.
Yep. We have the beautiful fall colors.
Yes. Well, you know what? The fall is beautiful in Pennsylvania. So no matter where you are, technically in the fall is absolutely beautiful. I know I went to school at James Madison University, and it was just beautiful. Shenandoah Valley gives us a chance to see all of the different colors, and just to take that drive along the skyline is memorable, especially when you stop and take pictures. Yes. Mm-hmm. So I love the fall in a lot of different regards. It's not necessarily my favorite season per se, but every season is something beautiful within that season, you know?
Yes. What is your favorite season?
Well, actually, I love the summer, but my favorite holiday type of thing is Christmas. So yes, okay. I love Christmas, and I love the warm weather, and probably would be somewhere in Florida enjoying just the nice water, and well, actually Maui, Hawaii. If I had a chance, anybody want to know where Kim wants to go, and you just feel it in your spirit, man, to be able to bless me, send me to Maui, Hawaii, and I'll be okay. How about your favorite season?
My favorite season is spring. I love watching things come alive.
Good. And you know what? I think because my daughter has such allergies to spring, it's like, okay, when it comes, it's like, okay, put the shirts, long sleeves, even though you're supposed to be blossoming and blooming, she gets all of these different allergies. So we're like, okay, get eye drops, do this, all kind of different things. But every season, again, as I said, has beauty within it. And so I'm grateful for every season that God blesses on this earth.
Absolutely.
All right, everybody, listen, we have a great episode lined up for you, and I want to go ahead and introduce Pam McCloskey, and I'm going to read your bio because I think it's some great stuff in here that I think is going to be important for everybody to know. Pam McCloskey, also known as Coach Pamski, is a motivational speaker with an amazing story of resilience, redemption, and restoration. She is an author and the creator of Pamski's Place, a life center that's a learning center for all, promoting self-care with Christian values for women in particular, ready to overcome the effects of growing up in a dysfunctional family or situation. Now, I'm not going to go through every piece of her bio because some of the questions that I may talk about will speak to her bio. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to skip down to the fact that she is a mother of 3 adult children, and she's a grandma. I don't know if I read that right. You're a grandmother?
I'm a grandma, yes.
Get out of here. And that just melt her heart, clearly. And she is also living in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. in Lancaster County, and she's married to her wonderful husband of 33 years. Welcome,
Wow.
Pam, to the Kim
Thank
Jacobs Show.
you. So happy to be here.
I'm so happy to have you here. And as well, I'm very happy to have you all in the virtual studio audience as well. So come in and say your name, comment where you're visiting in from, and I'd be happy to send a shout out to you as well. We're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to go ahead and get right into your story of, you use some powerful words,
Mhm.
resilience, redemption. And what was the third one that you, yeah, and restoration.
Mhm.
Resilience, redemption, and restoration. That alone will preach, as they say in the church. So I cannot wait to hear your story when we come back. We'll be right back.
I'm attorney Charles Everidge. I started out representing insurance companies until my father was seriously injured at work. 4 of his fingers were amputated. Our family went through a lot, so I know what you're going through as an injured worker. If you've been hurt on the job, call me now. I'll fight to get the workers' comp benefits you may deserve. I'll fight for you like family. Put my experience to work for you. Call 704-457-5000, the first call for injured workers.
Right, we're back and we're talking with Pam McCloskey. And yes, I see you, Mom, out there in the virtual studio audience. She says she is waiting for a great show. And so she's in her virtual seat, ready to go. Glad to have you, Mommy. All right, listen, talk to us about why you chose those 3 words. Take us back as far as you
Mm,
want to go to share where those powerful words had to
where they come
resonate in your
from.
spirit. So
Yes,
talk
yes.
to us.
And it truly is the reason why I do what I do today too. I grew up in an abusive home, and um my mom and my dad both, my dad had come, he was in the service, and my mom was just, she had some mental illness. And so she was emotionally and physically abusive. And when I was 2 years old, she had put me into an oven and turned on the gas and put her head in, and she was going to kill both of us. She just had some serious things going on. She was not
Right.
happy with her life. And as I got older, she became very physically abusive.
Okay.
And when I was 13 years old, I got to the point where I didn't feel like I could ever do anything right. So I just did. My name at home was good for nothing, rotten SOB. And so when I was
Wow.
13, something clicked to me, and I said, okay, I can't be the good girl. So now I'll be what she says I am. So I got into drugs and alcohol and sex and, all those things. And when I turned 18, I finally left home on my birthday. And when I left home, I didn't know what to do with all this stuff that was inside of me. There was a lot of anger and resentment and confusion and
Right.
pain. And so when and women often do this, I went from one abusive relationship into another. I met a guy who was abusive,
Wow.
and I stayed with him for 3 years. And partway into our time together, I got pregnant. And when I got pregnant, it was like, you know what? I need to try to make this work. Well, one day I came home from work, and I don't remember what he was upset about, but he started hitting me and got me onto the couch and was strangling me. And I looked up and I saw my son, who was old enough to pull himself up on the crib, standing there. His face was beet red, just crying.
Mm.
And I thought, you know what? And I didn't have a relationship with God yet, but I was seeking. And
Yeah.
as I was being strangled, I told God, if you let me live, I will change my life. And I
Mm.
blacked out. And when I came to, his dad was gone, but his son, my son was there. I grabbed him in the diaper bag and I left. Well,
Mm.
the problem was I didn't have any friends anymore. All my friends were his friends. I couldn't go to my family. And so I
Right.
ended up being homeless for a month, and I found an empty home to stay in. And I lost my job, obviously, because I couldn't do everything. And so, but the ladies that I worked with told me of some programs that could help me. And that's how I
Okay.
ended up finding the apartment I got, moved into it, and started going back to the old bar scene, because we tend to go back to what we know.
Right.
And
Right.
But what I saw were these guys, the way they acted, I'm thinking, this is not the kind of guy I want. Like, I'm done with that.
Yeah.
And so I came home from the bar and I laid in bed and I prayed to God and I said, I want a really good guy.
Hmm.
Well,
Wait. Because before you
okay.
go into the good
Okay.
guy piece, and
Yes.
I want to go back for a minute because there are some things that you're saying as you've gone through just the earlier part of your life that
Yes.
will resonate with people that will be watching or are watching this program, right? And
Right.
so when we go back, you're saying you were in this situation in your home where pretty much you were fearing for your life many
Mhm.
times over because you were considered a no good person according to your own account.
Yeah.
Now, how did you get out of that situation with your family safely? Because everything that you've already shared sounds like there's no way that you would make it to even 18 years old to be able to
Right.
get out of that situation. So tell us about that a little bit too.
A lot of it was my dad was very passive. He didn't seem to step in. He worked a lot.
Okay.
He was the provider, so he wasn't really involved.
Hmm.
And so, and I remember I ran away a couple times, and I remember him saying, I thought I was your buddy. Why didn't you tell me? And I remember feeling, how could you think that you were my buddy when you didn't protect me? But it was a huge mental thing. I was suicidal a couple times, especially as a teen.
Mm,
And it became one of those deals where my whole drive was when I turned 18, I was leaving.
mm.
And that's what kept me going was I just kept telling myself when I turn 18, I am leaving. I get to get out of here.
And then
And
you
and
went
I
into
did.
another abusive situation,
Yes,
which
because you
left you
don't
near dead again.
Yes, because you don't think that you deserve anything better. Like to
Okay.
me, this was normal. This is the way it is.
That's what I
Even
wanted to
though,
hear you say. That's what I wanted
yes,
to hear you say.
you,
Not to steer you, but because
yeah,
I figured you
yes,
were going to say that this was normal according to everything that you have been experiencing in your life.
mhm,
So for you, it wasn't like something that you thought was out of the ordinary. This is just how
no,
life is. So there are
wow,
people
yeah,
watching today that they're just living life the way that they know is normal to them. What advice before you go to the good guy piece, because I wanted to hear that
yes,
too, but what advice would you give people that are watching today that are living what they consider just a normal everyday life,
mhm,
but it's ending horribly every single day of their lives? So
mhm.
what advice would you give them to come to
Well,
the realization that this is not right? This is not cool.
right. Yes. It sometimes it takes being around healthier people and you start to look at them and you realize, wait a minute, this isn't the way it's supposed to be. The other thing is for me, especially when I was in the abusive relationship, I stayed because of fear. I was
Mm,
afraid that I couldn't take care of my son and I didn't know what he would do if I left. And so there was a lot of fear. So I get it when women stay, but what I want to say is there is something so much better for you. You do not have to stay stuck where you are. And I know it's scary and I know it's hard, but you can do it because is so much more waiting for you that you deserve to have, and you are worthy to have it.
that's good. So you're
Yeah.
worthy to have it. And this is coming from Pam McCloskey, who Pamski, as we call her, Coach Pamski. And she personally has lived through some of these trials and tribulations that she's sharing with you. So when we bring guests here on the Kim Jacobs show, we're talking about how we can balance life and be able to manage all of the different aspects of life. And many of us are busy women, mothers, grandmothers, a lot of different hats that we wear. And we have circumstances and situations that's either been by choice or even by force in many instances. And so Pam is here today to share her story of redemption, is really what's happening, and how she now is able to get to the other side of the equation. So talk to us, you said, about the good guy.
Well, I did. I got a good guy. I came home from the bar and I prayed and said, God, I want this good guy, and he did show up, and he was a really good guy, but here's the problem. I still didn't know what to do with all the stuff in me.
Okay.
And yes, and I became a Christian and I thought that was going to help, but in some ways it made it worse in the sense that the church I went to, I felt like everyone was perfect and I knew what was going on inside of me. And I had a lot of resentment and anger, and I wasn't treating my husband very well. And then in the first 6 years of our marriage, I was cheating on him and he didn't
Oh,
know it.
girl, wait. I did not. Okay, that's a whole
You
commercial
didn't
break.
expect that one, did you?
Now, anybody in the virtual studio audience, if that's like a wait, what? I did not expect that. So we're going to take a
Yeah.
commercial break. And
Okay.
when we come back, we're going to hear from Pam as to how she dealt with her husband and handled her husband. Not many people will come forward on a show and say, I was the problem. Usually people come forward and blame other people. So when we come back after this commercial break, you're going to hear from Pam about how she feels that she caused some problems in her marriage that could have ended her marriage. So we'll come right back.
I have peace of mind with
Wow,
Silver
Pam.
Shield Security, which has been protecting my family and home, along with servicing the Carolinas for over a decade. Silver Shield Security knows the importance of convenience and safety. Whether you live in an apartment, a home, or run a business, they are here to protect you from unwanted intrusions and fires. Call now at 704-440-4688 or visit the website at www.silvershield-security.com. You can use my promo code #ToneX and get 1/2 off your installation price. Don't forget to ask about the new no money down options. Let Silver Shield Security help to give you peace of mind, just like me and my family, and keep your business safe.
All right, we are back talking with Pam, who completely sideswiped me. I did not expect that. Talk to us from your perspective of being the one that offended outside of your marriage.
It was one of those things that, it was going on for 6 years. It wasn't just one person, it was actually more. And a lot of it was, if you ask me why, I wanted so desperately to feel beautiful. Now, when someone was helping me, I had said, when they asked me, why did you do it? I said, because I wanted to be loved. And they said, no. And I said, what do you mean, no? And they said, well, you had love, which they were right. My husband dearly loved me, and I knew it. I wanted to feel beautiful. I wanted to feel like I was worth something. And so I was trying to get that filled by going out and committing adultery. And you can only do that for so long before you start feeling the effects of it, because you got to keep up with your lies. I already didn't like who I was, and now I really didn't like who I was. So I became suicidal. And when I became suicidal, I thought, okay, you know what? I need help. And so I went to a Christian bookstore, and when I went in, right before I went in, I said, God, I don't know what I'm supposed to get here. You show me. And I came out with 2 books. And one of them was called Lord Change Me. And it was by Evelyn Christensen. And she talked about how your husband might need change, your kids might need change, but the only person you can change is you. Well, no one ever said that to me, because they didn't really know. I had a facade on when I went to church. And anywhere I went outside of my home, I had this facade. People had no idea what was going on with me. And they would say, yeah. And I would walk into the church building and they would say, oh, you're such a light. And it was just like I wanted to strangle them, because I thought, you have no idea what's going on inside of me. But they saw something. Yeah, they saw something that I couldn't see yet. And so here I am with this book. She talked about how you can ask God to change you, but you better be ready. He'll use whatever it takes.
Yes.
Oh, I'm like, what does that mean? Well, when you're suicidal, you get to that point where you're done. You're just done. And you feel like everybody else would be better if you were gone. And one day I went up to my bedroom and I knelt at the bed and I said, God, change me, whatever it takes. And Kim, I'm telling you, in 2 months, we had a house fire that we lost everything but my Bible and a few little items. And
not like you're happy about the house fire, but the Bible survived.
Yeah, right?
It's just like, glory, hallelujah.
I know.
The Bible made it through. Okay, go ahead.
And so
the house fire. What happened?
And people say, that must have been awful. And yes, It really was. But I tell you what, there were so many amazing things that came from that fire that's for another time. But what it did was it propelled us 1,500 miles away to Dallas, Texas,
Okay.
where we met a group of people that were the realest Christians I have ever met, that talked about how they knew that they were doing things, how they were messing up, but what God was doing for them.
Right,
And
right.
that was refreshing to me. I have never met people like that before.
That were
And
just authentic and telling you their,
very
like, bearing their
authentic.
soul type of thing, saying, "Look, I'm not doing everything right. I've actually
Exactly.
been a heathen type of thing, and I need God to intervene in my life. And so here's an example of what you shouldn't be doing, but God still is loving me and through it, a type of thing." That's what I think I'm hearing, right?
Absolutely,
Hmm.
absolutely. You got that right. And it was so refreshing. And I was drawn to them. Well, here I come to find out that they were a drug and alcohol group, a recovery group.
Hmm.
And one of the ladies who was in the Al-Anon side, I had, now, mind you, I never showed my anger outside of the house. But this day, she said something that just, I flipped. And when I flipped, I was not very nice at all. And
The
I
church
left
part. Who
her.
said something? I don't get it. What happened?
She said something about somebody else, and it flipped me off. Like I
This
was
is one of the
mad at
church
her.
people. This is one
Hmm.
of the. Oh, okay.
Yep. Yep. And so I went back to her 2 days later and I told her I was sorry. And she said, Pam, you know about our group on Monday night. She said, why don't you come join us?
Okay.
Well, I didn't go because I thought it was going to help me. I went because I was a people pleaser and I was afraid to say no. But God
Okay.
will use anything. So I ended up going to group, and I went for a couple weeks without saying anything. I just listened to these women, and they had
Interesting.
some of the same pain and some of the same fear, and they were working on themselves. They were working through the 12 steps. And I thought, wow, maybe I need to work on myself here.
So
Oh my
acknowledgement,
goodness.
acknowledgement, not being in
Yes.
denial according to some of the different steps that there are, you know?
Yes,
Interesting.
absolutely. And so I did. I engrossed in the 12 steps for about 2 years.
Okay.
And my husband started seeing a huge change in me. Well, I don't know how much you know about the steps, but one of the steps is you do an inventory. The one I did was very extensive. And then step 5 is that you admit to yourself, to God, and another human being the exact nature of your wrongs. I'm thinking, yeah, nope. I'm like, I will tell my sponsor almost everything, but I'm taking my adultery to my grave. But here's the
Ah,
thing, the person I picked, I knew their past and I knew they had adultery in their past. So I
okay.
think I was thinking, if they would ever find out, maybe they won't judge me. Maybe they won't reject me, you know.
So you intentionally chose that person as a
Oh, of
sponsor.
course.
And
Yes.
but at this point you had never revealed to anybody
Mm-mm.
that there had been some level of adultery.
No,
And you
no.
had that as my thing that I'm going to the grave with.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Pam, this is like a whole okay. This is
I
like
know,
a
right?
whole movie, right? And I feel like
Yep,
we're on a
it
whole
is.
some kind of episode or a limited series or something that's happening here
Right?
with
I
Pam
know.
McCloskey on your journey. Keep on, talk to us some more.
And so what happened was, as I was sitting before my sponsor, they asked, what did you see in step 4? And I told them some of the patterns that I saw. I began to understand why I was so resentful and angry. And so when I was done, they said, "Are you done?" And I said, "Uh-huh." And they said, "Are you sure?" I said, "Uh-huh." They said, "Really?" I said, "Uh-huh." "Really?" "Uh-huh." I couldn't look him in the eyes anymore because I could feel it. It was coming out, and it's like, "No, I can't stop it." And so I said, "Yes, there is more." And so I told them about my adultery.
Okay.
Whew, that was tough. That was really tough. But here's the thing about that is that they kept telling me I was forgiven, and I just couldn't receive it.
Hmm.
And finally they said, "Look at me." And I looked at them and they said, "You are forgiven." Well, there's one thing in knowing that with your head, but knowing that in your heart's a whole different thing. And
That's
for
good.
yes, and for me, I had to learn to forgive myself.
Mm.
And so here we are. one of the things they said to me is God may call you to tell your husband or he may not. And I said, oh no, I know he's going to. I could feel it. Well, sure enough, my husband came home one day from an event, and next thing I know, we're on the floor in our bedroom. I'm just crying, telling him about the adultery.
Hmm.
I dearly love this man and I don't want to lose him. And I
Of course.
knew that this could be the thing that could do it, you know. And the other thing was this was old for me, but new for him. So
Right.
there was a lot of things that we had to do to try to overcome this so that it didn't destroy our marriage. And
That's right.
thankfully we had people that guided us and helped us in being able to do that.
Hmm.
And and so, I don't know if you want me to stop there or
Stop. Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Stop right
because there's
there.
more, but
There's
I
a
wanna
whole
make
lot
sure.
more, a whole lot more. We're talking with Pam McCloskey, and I definitely want to make sure that we put your contact information up so people know how to stay connected with you. First of all, today we're bringing balance to the world with Pam McCloskey, and we're talking about thriving while you are alive. And so the second half of today's discussion is going to be all about how she turned this thing around and how she made a conscious decision to thrive. And so, how can people stay connected with you before we take our commercial break?
You can go to pam-mccloskey.com or just look up Pamski. You'll find me if you put Pamski in.
Pamski, Coach Pamski, or pam-mccloskey.com. And we're going to take a commercial break. And when we come back, we're actually going to swap Pam and our sponsor for today out, and we're going to bring up Samantha Benson. Now, Samantha Benson is one of our episode sponsors with getinsured.solutions. Getinsured.solutions. And we're going to play a commercial break, and we're going to come back and hear live from our episode sponsor, Samantha Benson. You don't want to miss that. Then we'll come back to you, Pam. Okay. All right, everybody. We'll be right back after this break.
Nothing says I love you more than final expense insurance whole life protection with funeral advocacy nationwide, saving you and your family 30 to 80% off funerals and cremations. Nothing says I love you more than Get Insured Solutions, LLC. GetInsured.Solutions. 704-499-3616.
All right, everyone, we are back and we are talking with one of our episode sponsors, none other than Samantha Benson. Welcome, Samantha. How are you today? You're muted, so you have to unmute your own self on your end.
Look, that's what you get when you go live.
No, that's okay. That's okay. So let's talk. And first of all, I'm so glad to have you here and to stop by the Kim Jacobs Show. I see you're out and about, so you're carrying on with your day.
Yes.
But you're with GetInsured.Solutions. Tell us what that is and how people can stay connected with you.
Wonderful. Well, I'm Samantha Benson, CEO of Get Insured Solutions, LLC. And what we do is very simple, Kim. We fund funerals with a funeral advocacy program nationwide. How do we do that? Well, we help insure people and protect their current insurance, or if they don't have any existing life insurance, we're able to provide whole life insurance at affordable premiums for everyone from newborns to 85 years old. And it doesn't even matter if they have critical illnesses such as stage 4 cancer. And the funeral advocacy is the best part too, because with that funeral advocacy, we step in and we talk to the funeral homes throughout the communities, at least about 3 funeral homes, and we help bring the cost down. And we also have grief counseling for the families. So it's a beautiful situation. What I do as insurance specialist with a purpose. It's just not simply insurance. And you get this by speaking with me or one of my agents at Get Insured Solutions. and we're just there to love on you at the worst time of your lives.
Wow. Now, Samantha, you I hear you often say that the goal is to be able to have more of the funds be able to stay with the family when
Yes,
someone has a loved one that passes away. How do you all ensure that that happens?
wonderfully. I'm so glad you asked me that question. Final expense, most people haven't even heard about that, Kim. They just know life insurance, and there's so many different types of life insurance. Final expense insurance is that right now, monies within 24 hours of your loved one passing away. And because we're able to step in and talk to the funeral homes directly, we're able to make sure that the cost of the funeral comes down, the funeral merchandise. I'm talking about, Kim, from the flowers to the transportation of the bodies to a full funeral, even being able to help with those extra monies to pay for the burial plots or the opening or the closing of the graves at the cemetery. See, people think that is included in a funeral. It's not. It's two separate businesses. And so people really get, very stressed out during this time of a loved one that they just lost.
Hmm. That's incredible, Samantha. And so, when do you recommend that people reach out to you? Because sometimes, like you said, people are stressed to capacity when a loved one actually transitions from this earth, and then you can't even think straight. And I've had quite a few people pass recently within the last few years that are very important in my life. And so, when you're suggesting that people reach out, when do you recommend that that happens?
Right now.
Right now, right
don't
now.
don't wait.
Before anything happens?
Absolutely. Myself and my team cannot help any family after the fact, after a funeral.
Oh.
Final expense, again, Kim, protects the current life insurance that you have. I just qualified a young lady in Virginia, and I live here in Charlotte. She's a single mother, 40 years old, and I qualified her for $1.8 million of worth of life insurance.
Hmm.
But that final expense, life insurance, protects all of that $1.8 million. So that is used to do what it's meant to do, continue the legacy of her family. The
Yeah.
final expense portion is that immediate money that helps to go to pay for medical bills or whatever. Most people are underinsured, and doesn't matter if you have a $10 million policy. You still, because that insurance is going to take a long time to process.
Wow.
But final
Okay.
expense, we're able to get those monies to families within 24 hours of everything of the claim being filed. And as
Wow.
the insurance company is going through, that is upfront cash money that gives you the ability to just be able to breathe and have somebody to love on you at the most difficult time.
Wow. This is very informative to me. And I thank you so much for being one of our episode sponsors here on the Kim Jacobs Show. GetInsured.solutions. How can people stay connected with you if they have further questions? Tell them.
Please give me a call at 704-499-3616. 704-499-3616. Or you can also email me at Samantha B as in blue at getinsured.solutions with an S, and we will be glad to be of assistance to you and help you through all of your insurance needs, whatever it may be. And we do a full scope, Kim, of reviews of policies because most people don't understand their insurance policies. They
Wow. Okay.
away.
Wow. You definitely, I think this is definitely something you should continue to come on and share with the community. And you all reach out to Samantha Benson for GetInsured.solutions, one of our episode sponsors. I know I've utilized her services and exactly what she's saying. They officially do that and they cut the checks right back to you in a very short time frame within like a week or so of situations. So make sure that you take advantage. And thank you for stopping by the Kim Jacobs Show today, Samantha.
Thank you for having me. Your episodes are absolutely fabulous.
Oh, thank you. And they're even better because of sponsors like you. So without your support, guess what? We wouldn't even have a show. Speaking of which, any of you all that want to support the Kim Jacobs Show, please make sure I'll let you know how to do that throughout the broadcast. Enjoy the rest of your day. We're going to come back right after this commercial break with Pam McCloskey as she talks about how to thrive while you are live. We'll be right back.
CTR
Bye,
Media Network was created for today's podcasters. We provide a safe haven for content creators that are everyday people doing extraordinary things. We have a system of positioning, monetization training, coaching, and support for our podcasters' success. CTR Media Network simply bridges that gap with a level playing field for your dreams to come true cost effectively. Our team provides a premium service and experience for our podcasters to grow. CTR Media Network provides access, support, resources, coaching, and community for our podcasters to win, if you put in the work. We believe that we are living in a unique time which requires you to share your message of hope with millions of people around the world. Remember that the world is never too saturated for you, your voice and message. A platform for positive impactful media where the content creators are in the driver's seat. Visit our website today by going to www.ctrmedianetwork.com.
Right, everyone, and we are back. We are talking with Pam McCloskey, and we're going to talk now about how to thrive while we are alive. Talk to us, Pam.
Yes.
What do you have? How did you actually get out of all of those circumstances, all of those situations? You kept your husband. Let's put a
I
picture
kept
of
my
you.
husband. Yes.
He has to be a
My
special
cute.
guy who
He is
I just
a
absolutely
special
love him
guy.
already. And he
Yes.
stayed with you through all
He
of this.
did. He did.
Why?
Yep.
Why did he stay with you? Do you know?
Well, if you asked him that question, he would tell you that he had seen such a change in me as I was working on myself, that he realized that I was not that same girl. And, God's timing is perfect. Had I revealed this earlier on, I don't know that we would have made it because he wouldn't have been able to see that change yet. But he saw that change in me and he realized this is not even the same girl, which made him want to do the hard stuff too, so that we could survive this and actually thrive in our marriage. And so we did.
Excellent.
We had some hard things we had to do. I had to be accountable to where I was going and what I was doing. He had some things he had to do. But Kim, I want to tell you a special part of this story.
Please.
So when we were healing through this, we had great mentors and people helping us. And one of the things that I was required to do was he was to ask me questions, and the mentors would let us know whether I needed to answer those questions or not. Because there's
Okay.
some questions that he would ask that would just make it even harder for him to be able to heal from.
Right.
And so and I thought for sure they were going to say I didn't have to say, but they said, no, you need to tell him. Talk about being extremely humble. And
I
there was
think
a
we
lot
missed.
of
What was the
shame.
question?
The question was, who were they? Who did I commit adultery with?
Oh, and you thought, okay, so I definitely would think
I
that's not
know.
a question that we're going to need to get at them because
No,
we
I
know it
didn't
can
think
cause some
so. But
issues.
it was one that I
Mm,
had to answer. And so I told him who they were. Okay. He decided, because everything I did helped me so much, he thought maybe there were some things that he could learn and do and help himself with. So he went through the program also. And what woman wouldn't love that,
of
Um,
course.
and for me, I was thinking he's perfect. What does he need to go through that for? But here's what we found out. We found out that we both had some of the same things. Pain is universal. Fear is universal. We all feel them. We may have different experiences, but we all feel them. And so we discovered that he had a lot of the same pain and stuff, but he just acted out differently. He was a people pleaser. He wanted people's approval, and he just did it in different ways than I did. And so here we are. He worked through the program, and we started talking. When you have that kind of healing, you
Right.
tell people about it. Well,
Of
our
course.
church at home in Pennsylvania, we were telling them about it, and they wanted us to come and do the ministry there. But they couldn't fully support us, and we watched that door close, and we ended up going to Kentucky for 3 years,
Wow.
which was a sidestep. We had no idea. And here's the thing, you just always have to trust God because he knows what's
That's right.
best.
Because you went to
And
Dallas, then you
went to
came back
Dallas.
and went to Kentucky.
Yes,
Well, you came back to
Kentucky.
Pennsylvania, then you went to Kentucky. Now
And
you're in
and
Pennsylvania
so
again.
now we're in Pennsylvania, because what happened was we started ministry in Kentucky, and then the church who wanted us to come in the first place said, hey, somebody sold some land. We would like you guys to come and do the ministry here. Whew, that was hard because we loved what we were doing, but
Right.
we also will not say no to God. And we knew it
Of
was a God
course.
thing. So we took care of things in Kentucky. We moved to Pennsylvania. We put our house up for sale. Just a side note, that house did not sell for 6 years. 6 years.
Oh,
So that's a story in itself.
yeah,
So
there's a
here we
lot of different
are.
episodes, Pam. You could
Yeah,
just
I
be like,
know,
okay,
right?
Pam month. Coach Pamsy's coming on all month long. Okay, go ahead.
Let's just do this thing. So here we are. This is the important part that I want everyone to hear, because there's some important nuggets in this. When we got to Pennsylvania, a month into being in Pennsylvania, we go to this event, and one of the guys is there. He comes up and he talks to us.
Go. Then you can't brush over this. Are you
Ooh,
saying one of
ooh.
the guys? Pam, the way you saying stuff, I'm gonna tell you right now. If I was near you, I'd be like, girl, you need to wait 1 minute. Don't brush over this.
Well, I
Okay.
know we only have so much time, so it's
Oh,
like I'm
wait.
trying to
No, we have
brief
enough
it.
time for you not to brush over that. Now you somewhere and one of the guys
One of the
show
guys
up.
that I had committed adultery with on my husband was there, and he walked up, and I can tell you that man did not change. There's just certain things, you know. So he talks to us, and he walks away, and I look at my husband and I said, "Are you okay?" And he said, "Yeah." He said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah." And girlfriend, I'm going to tell you, in that moment, I totally understood what total freedom is. You know, when I revealed my
Yes.
adultery to my sponsor, there was a lot of freedom in that.
Yes.
When I forgave myself, there was a
Mm,
lot of freedom in that.
mm.
When I told my husband, there was a lot of freedom in that. But I
Thank you, Lord.
really got to taste that freedom in that moment, because Satan
Yes.
could not use that against us anymore. It was canceled. It was done. There was no more
You
power in
preaching,
it.
Pam. You know
I
that.
know, right? Right.
You preaching. You preaching, and you know it. You know it.
Yes, yes. There was no more power in it. And what I want to
Yes.
say is that do not allow things back in the closet where Satan can use them. Bring them out to the light. Let God deal with them with you, so that you can walk in freedom and never have to worry about what's behind you and what's going to
My
sneak
Lord,
up.
girl,
Yeah.
you're gonna bring out a different kind of voice. You know, when you get in the word of the Lord, you get in a different tone. And
Oh,
that right
yes.
there, that right there will preach what you're saying. Once it's
Yes.
come out of the closet, you don't have to ever put it back. You don't
Yes.
have to ever look back, because
It's
God has already set you free.
it's
And
it's
whom the
hung
Son
on
has set
that
free was
cross.
free indeed.
Yes,
Wow.
absolutely.
Wow. Yeah,
And
I
this
see you.
is,
Let me put some of these comments up. I see some comments,
yeah,
and I need to put my glasses so I can see the comments. Okay, Kimberly Fowler said, wow, 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 wow.
yeah.
Yes, we see
And
you.
I
Thank you.
want to say something here. You know, I was laughing during this story and stuff, but the reason that I can even sit here and reveal what I've done and what I've been through is
Yes.
because of what Christ has done for me, and because I don't have shame over it anymore. There
Thank you,
is
Lord.
no more shame over it. So I
Yeah.
can have fun with it, and not feel like, oh my goodness, what are people going to think of me, or what, you know, it doesn't matter, because it only matters how God sees me, and he sees me through his sunglasses, SON glasses. And
Coach
so,
Pam Ski
yeah.
preaching the word of God, in my opinion, here. I see you. I see you. And then Mother Patricia Lofton, speaking of the word of God, this woman is a major leader throughout the Church of God in Christ, and someone that I respect very dearly. And she
Mm,
is on here today saying, yes, the only person you can change is you.
absolutely. Thank you
Yes.
for that. Absolutely right. Thank you for
Yes.
being here. Yes, it's been a ride. And so this has really propelled me into why I do what I do, because I want other women to know, yes, you may come from a bad background. You may have
Right.
trauma, you may have dysfunction, you may have been in an abusive relationship or more than one. Those do not have to define who you are, and you do not have to carry the effects of those things with you. And I always say, you get to choose. You get to change the way you're going to live out
That's
the
right.
rest of your life story. It does not have to be, your past doesn't define you. And
That's
you
right.
get to choose what you're going to do with all of that. My problem was, I didn't know what to, like, I didn't have the tools. And when I finally got to Dallas and I met people who had some tools, and then I was introduced to some other things that helped, it it was so incredibly life-changing. And so
Yes.
I decided, what if I had these tools in one place where women can come in and they can learn how to set boundaries, learn how to help their low self worth. What do you
Mhm.
do when you don't trust? How do you gain that back? And so I created Pamsky's Place, which is a virtual, right now it's virtual. In the
Yes.
future, it's going to be in person, but it's a virtual life learning center that does promote self-care with Christian values, because we are not very good at self-care when we've got a lot of stuff, trauma, hardship in our past, and we
Mm,
need to learn. And so it's the 5 pillars of self-trust.
I love it.
Sometimes we think self-trust or self-care is just going to the spa or taking a little bit of time for us.
Right,
Yes,
right.
that's part of it, but there's so much more.
But this is a
Yeah.
life learning center that you started.
Mhm.
And so
Yes,
you're going over 5 pillars in your center. And any of those
absolutely.
that you want to share, feel free to take a moment to do
Well,
so.
well, sure. There's the mental part. And when you hear my story, obviously there was a lot of mental things that were going on.
Yes.
There was a lot of things I had to deal with in my head. There's the emotional. And I definitely, I got to the point where I didn't want to deal with emotions. When I saw
Right.
emotions, I shoved them down somewhere. But they sit there and they wait for you. There's the physical, there's some things that we do need to do physically. There's socially. We have people around us
I'm gonna type
that,
some of these. So if y'all see me over here, mental,
mhm,
emotional,
physical,
physical.
social, because we have relationships. We were built to have relationships, but we don't know how to have them when we've been mistreated or we're carrying a lot of shame and guilt and
Yes.
resentment. And the last one is spiritual. Need to have spiritual self-care where you spend
Very
time with God, you spend time in prayer, where you spend time gratitude what God
That's
is doing.
good.
And here's what I want to say about that. I had a really hard time with God because my parents, they were to reflect God to me, but the way I was treated, I had what I call deceived perceptions of God. I could not see God clearly.
It's hard to see God whenever you're
Oh,
dealing with what other people are saying that they're representing God. And
yes.
you're like, if that's what God
Yes.
is, I don't want no parts of it, right? But
Yes,
really, people are just
exactly.
people and they're experiencing and sharing from their own place of hurt or pain or
Yes. And
agony
sometimes
or
they don't even realize that's what they're doing, you
right.
know,
Because they're
and
just doing what's normal to
to
them.
normal to
So
them.
whatever's
That's
normal to
it.
me, let me just personalize it because instead of me saying they and them, what's normal to me may not be what is always reflective of what God really wants us to do in every situation. But I believe that sometimes the only Bible that people will ever read is us, our
Yeah.
lives. And so
Yes.
hopefully we're fitting somewhere within the pages of the confines of that book through our everyday
Yes.
walk, in my opinion.
Yes. And that's why we do what we do. That's why you
Of
have this
course.
show, is so that people can see, God alive and active. Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. And so, and that's why I teach boundaries and,
Right.
different things like that. So in Pamsky's Place, there's actually 5 rooms, and there's the sunroom, SON room, where you can go in and watch videos and download, yes, download devotionals and prayers and things like that. And then I have the library, which is all about emotions. And then I have the workout room, which is work out your behaviors, because we pick up these behaviors and habits along the way that aren't healthy.
Good.
So what do we do with them?
Right.
And so, yeah, and then we have the community part where you get to be with other women who understand where you're at. Because here's the deal.
Yes.
I could not do this by myself. I
Mm.
had to have a group of people that I trusted that could breathe life and truth into me, because I was so busy in my head and so
Yes.
busy that my truth wasn't really the truth, but I didn't know that. And we were created for relationships. We were created to
Yes.
iron sharpen iron. And that never happens if you isolate and you hide away and not allow yourself to be around
That's
other
good,
people.
Pam.
And
That's
I
good.
get it. When you're hurt, the last thing you want to be is vulnerable. The
Right.
last thing, I mean, my wall was so high and so thick, nobody was getting in. But here's the problem. I was behind that wall with me, and I didn't like me. So
Interesting.
at some point you have to be vulnerable enough. And I have a no more program that I use to help with this, because at some point you have to say enough is enough. No more.
Yes.
No more. I want something better. I want to break this chain of all the generational stuff that came up to this point. And I can tell you, my relationship with my kids is strong. It's
Oh,
strong because they know I love them. They know that, there may be things that they do that I don't like, but that does not mean I don't love them and accept them
unconditionally.
unconditionally. And that was
Right. Right.
something I felt like my mom and dad did the best they could with what they had. But I
Yes.
did feel very like everything was conditional. And that was the thing that I really wanted to grasp, is what is love? Because I
Right.
did not know how to love. I didn't know how to be loved. And I didn't know how to be in God's love.
Wow. Well, Athena, our sunshine expert, speaking of light, she comes on. Actually, she's coming on our Freestyle Friday episode coming
Ooh,
up. And she does a beautiful job of just sharing God's light to this world. And she said, Hallelujah, the highest
yes.
praise. Hallelujah.
Oh,
And then
thank
she
you.
also said, that is so true. Everything that you're saying here today on the Kim Jacobs Show. Wow,
Thank you.
Pam. One thing that Les Brown says is that it's hard for us to see ourselves when we're in the picture frame. So
Mm.
when you're in the picture, you're just like this. Everything looks wonderful. But
Oh, yeah.
really, on the opposite side, what can other people see? And so you can't be your own determining factor of what the picture looks like. You have to have some people around you that believe in you and support you, but will also be honest with you and say, now that was a hot mess. And so
Right.
you need to get that together. Now that's the kind of friends I have. They be like, now I'm gonna tell you right now, Kim, that was a mess. And the answer is get it gone. And then they're like, get it out of here, get her out of here, get her out of
Yes.
here. So
Yes.
I need those kind of people in my life.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I know that you also studied under some pretty prolific leaders. Talk to us about some of
Mhm.
those right quick.
Well, I studied under Dr. Larry Crabb, which, if you ever get to grab any of his books, do it. Same with Dr. Wright. Phenomenal. There's just so much they have to share that is extremely helpful, not just if you're going to help other people, but for yourself. And I think
Mhm.
that's something that we do a disservice when we don't open ourselves up to allowing God to pour into us,
Yeah.
because there are people that have a lot of wisdom and they've walked the walk and they talk the talk. And so we need to be good at allowing ourselves to just not think that we know it all and listen.
I agree. And you also have this thing called one no more method. I want
Yes,
you
the
to talk
no
about
more
that some
method.
too. No
Yeah.
more
Well,
method.
the no more method I started because one of the first things I said, you have to get to a point where you say no more. And
Right.
N for no more is now. You're going to do something about it now, not put it off, not wait, another day. And when you hit that rock bottom, you get to that place where you say, okay, no more.
No more.
Yes. And then it goes on. O is opening yourself up, allowing, the first O is observe. Observe what's going on around you. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? Identify. We're really good at saying bad, mad, and glad. Well, you know what? There's a whole lot more emotions than that. So
Right.
start identifying, what is going on with you. And so it just progresses. Each word has a step that I take people on, women on, so that they can become free.
This is good. This is good. So you have so many different journeys that you take people on
Mhm.
with the self-care, the life learning center, how you actually approach that, which is very different with the sunroom and the community and working out behaviors, kind of going into those 12 steps in your own right, in your own way, in my
Yes.
opinion. So
Yep.
I think that you have done a beautiful job or masterful job of letting God, who's helped you on your journey, be able to help other women and men that need this level of assistance. So I am excited
Thank
about
you.
everything you shared. I know you have a
Yeah,
free gift for everyone today. Let me
I
also just tell
do.
you all, invest in the Kim Jacobs Show. Take a moment and support our program. It comes on Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So the only way we can have this level of programming with Coach Pamsky, who has stopped by here today, is if we continue to have people like you in the community to pour into the broadcast. So take a moment and support our program. And there are a lot of different ways to do so through paypal.me/Kim Jacobs Inc., because I have a lot of podcast listeners that tune in as well. So you may not be seeing this. And $ Kim Jacobs Inc. if you want to send it through Cash App. But thank you for those that already contribute to the program. And I do not take it for granted. And we'll be doing some more shout outs. Definitely during the holidays, we highlight a lot of our sponsors and people as well. So, Pam, how
Mhm.
can people stay connected with you? And then
Mhm.
tell us about the free gift that you have for everyone.
Yes. So they can stay connected with me. They can look up Pamsky if they can't remember anything else, or they can go to the link pam-mccloskey.com. And they also, I believe you're going to put a link in there for them to get their free gift. It's on self-care. Self-care is something we don't do much of. So we need a little shove and a little push to help with that. So hop in there, make sure you get your free gift, and then you'll start getting some life tips also.
That's so good. And you all, if you all go there and get that pam-mccloskey.com/neglecting-self-care, make sure you get that free gift today and then stay connected with Pam. She's clearly a force to be reckoned with. And the violent take it back by force. So she took her life back by force, clearly, right? Any
Yes.
closing comment that you want everyone to know that maybe you didn't get a chance to share, even though we have like 30 episodes we could do? But what's one closing comment that you may have?
I just want to say, if you're hearing my voice and you're in a situation right now that's difficult, don't give up. Don't give up. I know you feel like it, but I'm going to tell you, there's been so many times where I truly felt like giving up.
Mm.
I was at the end and my breakthrough was right around the corner. So don't give up. Push, pull, grab someone to help you, reach out, and then move, keep going forward, because your breakthrough is right around the corner.
Wow, your breakthrough, everybody, is right around the corner. I thank God for you today being here with us. And I am asking that you all tune in for the rest of this week. We have more wonderful episodes lined up for you. And so make sure that you're in your seat. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about becoming your best self with Dr. Tasha K. Walker Palmer. She's a medical physician, and she's here to talk to us about how to become your best self. We also have with us on Thursday, starting a ministry for people diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. Pastor Eric and Christina Nelson. There are specific niches that God have for different ones of us that's here to salt this earth. And then we also have on our Freestyle Friday, several of our experts, including Athena Robertson, our sunshine expert that you just saw making comments. This is a topic that we just talk about a wide variety of things. So you don't want to miss our Freestyle Friday episode. I am very grateful that you all tuned into the Kim Jacobs Show today. Let me make sure I don't miss any virtual studio audience comment that just maybe came in. All right. I see all of your comments, and we appreciate you all being here today. Final thing I'll say is make sure you know it's Digital Parenting Week, which means that I will talk more about the timelines on another episode, but Parenting Week alternates between the 2nd and 4th of October this year. And it's a week that's set apart to appreciate parents for their special and important roles in their children's upbringing. So make sure that you all salute a parent this week and let them know that you're grateful for what they pour into their children. And this parenting, the word itself became an English word in 1959. So it's a lot to this whole parenting thing as we go on this journey called life. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. And thank you, Pam McCloskey,
My honor.
for blessing us here on the Kim Jacobs Show and preaching. You preach, really. All right, everybody. Have a great one. I'll see you all next time. Wow. Awesome. Stay backstage. Hello, everyone. I'm Kim Jacobs, host of the Kim Jacobs Show, where we're bringing balance to the world, one household at a time. Listen, we go live every weekday, Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I bring guests on that talk about their backstories, things that they've had to overcome to become who they are today. Many of them are balancing and juggling life, and they've become experts in different fields. So they're sharing tips with you to make your life just a little bit easier. Many times as a guest in the studio audience, you'll get a chance to walk away with a missing piece of the puzzle that might be missing in your life. Let's go on this journey together, and I look forward to seeing you Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Kim Jacobs Show.